Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel. In this short video we're going to discuss the most important updates that took place during the previous night. First we're going to start with Robotina. Today, during the previous night, we got a lot of very interesting geolocated videos, and probably the most important ones is the artillery and bombings with all types of weapons the Russians have the central part of the settlement. The Russian sources are saying that on this video we could see the results of working of TOS flamethrower system when the Ukrainians tried to bomb the central part, where according to the Russian intelligence the biggest part of Ukrainian forces is concentrated. Furthermore, when talking about the Ukrainians, we got a very interesting video on how they were trying to develop their bridgehead in the southern part of Robotina, which confirms that the Ukrainians do have control over the southern part, or at least few buildings and few streets in this area. On this video you can see how the Ukrainian Bradley entered the settlement, bypassed almost the entire city, and after that he landed the troopers and infantry in the southern part of the settlement, which confirms that there are Ukrainian soldiers on this side of the settlement. The Russians, as you can see, were trying to bomb, to attack and to destroy that Bradley and to hit the Ukrainian manpower that located in the southern part. And after the Bradley landed the troopers, Bradley took a decision to leave the settlement and successfully left Robotina. So this is the video that was geolocated. If we increase the number of dates, let's say from the 20th of August, we see that this is not the first video from this area. Few days ago there was another video, and according to that video the Ukrainians even further to the south managed to capture Russian positions and to capture a few Russian soldiers in this area. So basically, as I understand, currently we have at least two geolocated videos from the same direction, which means that as a result of fierce clashes in this area, the Ukrainians during the previous weeks managed to develop their bridgehead to the south, and currently the Ukrainians control something like this in the southern part of Robotina. The main Russian positions in this area are located further to the south, along this area, along these forest lines, along this forest line, and along these forest lines. And basically this is the main purpose of the Ukrainians, to get this defense belt, to force the Russians to step back, and as soon as the Ukrainians are able to capture these forest lines, we can start talking about the end of the Battle of Robotina. But yet the Ukrainians haven't managed to get further and the main reason of that is the bombings of the Ukrainians in the central part. Basically, the Ukrainians don't have possibility to increase their critical mass, to collect the critical mass, because the Russians are bombing this area heavily and there are no places where the Ukrainians can hide. Furthermore, the Ukrainians still use almost the same ways, same roads to supply and support their forces in the settlement. They're dropping and moving their forces, they're sending their reinforcement using this supply road. And today we got another video geolocation confirmation how the Ukrainians were trying to redeploy some forces, some reinforcement inside the settlement. And as a result of artillery strike, another Ukrainian Bradley was destroyed. But according to this video, just the Bradley was destroyed, and the Ukrainian infantry managed to land, to get off the Bradley and start running away in direction of the trenches that were located along the forest line and along the road that the Bradley was passing by a few minutes ago. So as you can see, most of the Ukrainian infantry survived. So if we increase the number of dates, let's say from the 20th of August one more time, it will give us a better understanding of the situation. As you can see, according to this video, the Ukrainians still use just one road to supply and support their forces in the settlement. This is the main road. And the main Ukrainian positions, the main area where the Ukrainians try to accumulate their forces is the triangle that connects the central part of Robotina and the northern part of Robotina. The Russians during the previous weeks and during the previous days published significant number of videos how they were bombing and shelling the central part using the TOS flamethrower systems, artillery systems. Furthermore, a little bit to the north, there were also a lot of geolocated videos how the Russians were using the missiles and reactive missiles to bomb and attack the Ukrainians. Also, the Russians were bombing not just the squares, but also separate buildings, which means that the northern part is under complete Russian control, which doesn't allow the Ukrainians to accumulate and to collect significant number of forces to break the entire situation and to capture the Russian positions on the south and of course on the southwest of the settlement, this line as well. So the battle for Robotina continues. We'll see whether the Ukrainians are able to do something today or not. We haven't received nothing from the bridgehead from the Ukrainian attempt to attack from the Ukrainian destination between Novopokrovka, Verbova, and Novopokrovka and Verbova. This direction, there were no updates. Now we're moving further to the Vremivka tactical bridgehead. We have just one geolocated clarification. The battle took place a few days ago, but according to this video, we see the Ukrainian claimed, to be more precise, the forces of 36th Brigade published the video how they were storming the forest lines, and basically after that they started movements in direction of the forest in this area. So we will not color this territory in yellow color, but at least this small forest was under Russian control, and now we see that there was a video from the Ukrainian side how they were storming and assaulting this area, which means that maybe the Russians lost control over this small stronghold in the fields. Also, we got the video how the Ukrainians were trying to accumulate their forces and to redeploy their forces from one side, from Staromayarskaya to Urozhaine. The Russians controlled the road, and as soon as the Russians discovered the Ukrainian movement, they started bombing and shelling the Ukrainian positions, and as a result of another strike, armored vehicle of Ukrainian forces was destroyed. More and more updates are coming from Ugledar, but for now, just as a messages of the text about some clashes and about the concentration of Ukrainian forces in this area, and some Russian sources are saying, and the forces of 155th Marine Brigade reported that there are very high chances that Ukrainians during the next days probably will make attempt to attack and to storm Volodymyrovka and Nikolskaya. But yet we haven't received many geolocated confirmations about any attempt from the Ukrainian side. The Russians started and continue bombing Avdiivka. They continue discovering and checking the Ukrainian positions in the high-rising building in the southwestern part of the settlement, and as a result of artillery strikes, the Russians tried to destroy and to reduce the Ukrainian possibilities in this part of the settlement. Very interesting updates are coming from Klishchiivka. We need to pay attention to this because during the previous weeks, the Russians reported probably 3 or 4 or 5 times that as a result of counteroffensive, the Russians managed to return control over the entire settlement. But recently, just yesterday, on the 26th of August, the Ukrainian sources published, to be more precise, the Lyud battalion, the Lyud brigade published the video of the storming process of this part of the settlement. This video was geolocated. We can see a lot of Ukrainian soldiers in this area, and as a result of that attack, the Ukrainians returned or captured. It's very difficult to understand when exactly did that happen, on the 26th, on the 25th, or probably on the 15th of August. The author didn't provide us any dates regarding that operation, but when talking about the Russians, we got another video from the Russian side, the work of the Russian sniper in this part of Klishchiivka. This video is also very fresh, was published just this night, which probably can mean that the Russians have control over this part. So we will not change the color of the Klishchiivka of the settlement, but anyway we need to pay attention to this area because probably, and there are very high chances that as a result of small offensive operation that Ukrainians made during the next few days, previous days, managed to get inside the Klishchiivka from the hills from the hills on the west of Klishchiivka and to capture these 2 streets. We will follow the situation. If we get another geolocated confirmation, we will update the map accordingly. We haven't received nothing from Kupiansk-Liman, and we got just few updates from Solidar. The Ukrainians continue bombing and attacking the Russian positions in the area. Currently, the Ukrainians don't have neither the critical mass or manpower or artillery superiority to start attacking, and also the Russians who do have a lot of armored vehicles, a lot of high-rising buildings in this part of Solidar, which reduce any possibilities from the Ukrainian side to successfully complete offensive operation from the north. And if the Ukrainians want to attack first, they need to reduce almost every single building. So probably this is exactly what the Ukrainians are trying to implement, to destroy the buildings on the northern part. Maybe after that they will use the force of 30th Mechanized Brigade to continue offensive operation. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.